Welcome to Already Christianity. Do not adjust your screens. Yes, I'm back. Maybe you regret that before the show's over, but I'm back. I'm back. Trial's over. I'm back for the attack. I can't. It was like 4.5 weeks.
Yeah, 21 days.
Oh, but how many shows?
But
did I
shows.
Miss? I mean, I did a little
consecutive.
cameo appearance on two of them,
yeah.
and I just came bust your balls and get out of
Maybe
here.
3 or 4 consecutive.
I think that was
No
a
more
while. It
than-
was long. I've never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we missed you, man.
Come on.
Well, it sounds like you did great. Can you hear?
Salo's got elevator music playing in my
Yes.
ears.
how he does it?
He's gonna
He's put music to your
slow
words.
it out.
Well, welcome, guys. Welcome to Already Christianity. We're just going to jump in. Forget all the niceties
Yes.
and the introductions. We're going to talk about Islam.
Ooh. Come on.
Where's Momo for this conversation?
He's coming.
Is he? Get your ass over here, Mo.
He's coming.
How to win friends? How to win
Well,
friends and influence people.
Look, I mean, let's just. Well, we got look, this.
That's right.
George and I have been talking about this for years.
Yeah.
Other people have as well. I think people are seeing it now. I mean, we're seeing the influence of Islam spreading, not just over Europe, of course, but now in the United States. And so when people say, is there a problem with Islam? You have to understand what Islam stands for, what the ideology is, the principles. Excuse me, just ate. And if we understand those ideals and their principles, does it conflict with the Constitution? I mean, we'll talk about where there's a conflict with Christianity, but with the Constitution, because ultimately, as Americans, we have to worry about we're a constitutional republic, and so we have to understand that whatever ideas, I guess, are cohesive to this experiment called the Constitution, well, then I think is good. And you have to get back to our founding principles about the Establishment Clause, about separation of church and state, about all the different constitutional rights we have. Free speech includes freedom of religion, and how Islam comports with all that, and whether it does or doesn't.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of ignorance out there. There's a narrative that if you criticize Islam, you're an Islamophobe. If you criticize, and if you just make a comment, if you're just an observer and you have eyeballs and ears and you get common sense and logic, and you apply that to Islam and the principles, well, then you're called names. But in that same arena of ideas, you can, there's no other way to say it, shit on Christianity and say whatever you want about Jesus and about Christians and about our Bible, and that's okay. You're brave. You have a right to do that. But it's not the other way around, especially to the Christian. And so you have to call that out, and then you just have to be able to speak the truth. Ephesians 4:15, speak the truth in love. 2 Timothy 1:7, do it without timidity and fear. and that's it. And then the truth will set you free, as John 8:31, Jesus reminds us. And so Islam, George and I have thought there is a problem with Islam in America. There just is. And it's not the fact that there's a problem with someone wanting to worship under that ideology or religion, or that you cannot be, quote unquote, Islamic or Muslim, whatever. It's what it means. What it means when you say, okay, we welcome in this Islamic idea, these ideals, and how does it comport with Christianity or with any other Western civilization? And again, all you have to do is go to the European countries and see how it's taken over. I mean, people don't know this, but Syria, we've mentioned on the show before, Egypt, tell me if I'm forgetting anything, Syria, Egypt, Lebanon, all used to be Christian nations. Jordan, and now they're not. Because slowly but surely, some by force, some by coercion, some by multiplication. Well, there's a lot of different reasons why this happens.
Yeah.
They're not anymore.
Yeah.
And the Christians either have been treated a certain way, subjugated, or kicked out, or they moved out on their own. And Islam has taken over. And so is that an accident? Is that by design? Well, I mean, I know the answers to it, but we need to discuss these answers and talk about it. And then what should the church do about it?
Yeah.
I mean, look, we know certain pastors talk about it. Ed's been bold about that. And I always supported him on that, and I think he needs to continue to do it. I wish more pastors would. I know you're open-minded to doing that, and you've spoken about that. and we just have to have the discussion and not have fear of being called names. I mean,
when it comes to, and I'm gonna be the naive guy tonight. When it comes to the Islam in America, I don't know if our audience hears that or not, but check. 1, 2.
We're good.
I'll keep rolling.
When you criticize Islam, it happens.
This is a demon. But when it comes to Islam in America, here's the thought that's out there amongst just people. If we live in a country that is freedom of religion, what you just spoke to, freedom of religion. And this feels like, and I know I hate to echo back, but I'm gonna echo back to Zoran here, Mamdani. This feels like his run, what he's doing is the American dream. You come here, you have different ideals or values, but since we have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and a democracy, this feels like this is what's supposed to happen. Somebody who's from a different faith and a different way of doing things, and it feels as elementary and simple as somebody coming here with different beliefs than we are as a Christian country, but this is what we, as a diverse country that wants all people, melting pot, the land of the free, this is what we want to happen. Why is that in opposition to American constitutional values or our values as Americans?
Well, I mean, you might. Oh, go ahead, George. Go ahead. I have my answer, but go ahead.
Because of Sharia, because Islamic law, in Islamic law, and a compliant Muslim will comply with Sharia, which literally means the way. There's no freedom of religion. There's no freedom of thought.
Within Sharia.
Right. Mm-hmm. There's no freedom of speech.
Gotcha.
There's no freedom of artistic expression. There's no freedom of the press. And so Sharia compels political actions based on religious mandates. And so those religious mandates come from the character and nature of Allah as embodied in a man, Muhammad. So Nico's right. He said this before. We have 3 religious texts. We know a lot about Islam. And it is important that this isn't a discussion about Muslims.
No.
This is a discussion
That's
about
why I always say Islam.
Islam.
Yeah. Islam. Yeah.
Islam. And what truly compliant Muslims are doing. And a truly compliant Muslim will comply with Sharia. And it's not pretty. And so because there is no freedom of religion and thought and speech and artistic expression and the press, because you don't have a say, then you fill in the blanks. What do you think that conversation is going to look like?
Yeah.
Well, there is no conversation. It's a one-way street. And Nico's right. You've seen formerly Christian societies that are now in just wholly Islamic. And I don't know if it was last week or the week before, we talked about how most of that happened under the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah, that's right.
Which lasted from about the 13th century till 1922. And really because they made a political mistake of aligning themselves with the Axis powers with Germany. And we know how Germany ended up in World War I.
Yeah.
So it was dissolved. But that is a long reign. And so it expanded virtually entirely by military conquest. And at the heart of that is Sharia.
Yeah.
So I think people can then fill in the blanks and say, oh, okay, that's definitely not constitutional. It doesn't sound like the Bill of Rights.
Right. Compliant Islam or Muslim, did you say?
Islam.
A truly compliant Muslim with Islam follows Sharia.
So what's the difference between a compliant Muslim within Islam versus a radical Muslim? Are those two different?
There is.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a radical Islamic.
Because we hear that buzzword.
Yeah, we hear.
We do.
Look, there is. Bill Warner says it. I got this from him, so I'm not trying to. There is no radical Islam. There's just Islam. Because if you study it, it's pretty radical. There's militant Islam. Now, if there's people that are trying to say, hey, I don't want that aspect of it. I don't want the Sharia. I don't want the Hadith because they have 3 aspects.
Which we haven't seen people denounce.
Well, they can't. They can do it here. They could actually do it here. They couldn't do it in Yemen or Saudi Arabia.
I see.
I mean, you just can't do that.
Has Zoran denounced?
No, of course
Sharia?
not. No.
I mean, I don't.
I hate to bring this up again, but in an American context, speaking about racism, that's probably the best analogy. You can be racist through and through and never militarize it, never actualize it, right? Never instantiate it, to use a philosophical term. And I always tell people, I don't really care if I'm surrounded by, devout racists, if I never see it. Do you? Do you care if you're surrounded by racists and you'll never see that racism? Your children will never see. Who cares? It only becomes an issue, and the law treats it that way too.
I see.
It only becomes an issue when it gets instantiated. And what we're saying is that Muslims per Sharia who don't instantiate all of Islam via Sharia are not compliant.
Speaking of a Mamdani supporter,
yeah.
So he's here. He's finally got here late. He was at a rally.
He was at a rally.
A fundraiser from Mayor Mamdami.
New York was at a rally.
New York. I forgot it, man.
That's it. You're out of here.
He was at a rally.
Islam not he borrow it.
That's hilarious.
Speak truth to power and all that.
Diversity, our greatest superpower. No.
Welcome, brother.
Diversity is our greatest superpower.
Oh, yes. I just got back. You gonna give me that bull? I just got back.
It's our greatest. I was asking these guys just a quick brief. Why is Islam so incompatible? If we're the land of the free, freedom of religion, and I'm just using as a microcosm. Zoran Mamdani seems like what we would as Americans. This is what we want: a melting pot of people, and he's running.
But you have to understand, if people melted into the pot are American values.
Okay,
You're saying that there's no assimilation.
That's the problem.
The problem is assimilation.
And we have Chinatown, we have Little Italy, we have different things in New York.
What do you mean by there's no assimilation?
But you have to adjust to American values.
I see.
I mean, so what Mamdani and other people and Islamic people want to do is they want to invade a country and change the country.
Change it.
Just look at UK. Forget about me. Go to Dearborn, Michigan, in the United States, and you would think that that's not in the United States.
Yeah.
There's no. Why do you think that some of these countries like China and other countries don't allow it in there? They won't even allow it.
They don't even allow.
They know what they. I mean, they won't allow it, and so that's a different discussion altogether. I believe in a. I wish there was a. I think it should be a federal law that there could be no other law. Nothing Sharia is not allowed. That cannot be tolerated. Nothing should be tolerated, but the Constitution. That's it. And so when you think about freedom of religion, it was never freedom from religion. And so when you study the founding documents and you understand our founding fathers and read their letters, they never intended this country not to be Christian. It was just what denomination you were. So when you think of freedom of religion, meaning you can have whatever denomination you want. You want to be a Puritan,
Baptist,
you want to be
Lutheran.
a Catholic, you want to be a Protestant, you want to be a Lutheran. But 96 to 98% of Americans were Christian. And we can go over. This is not the show.
Yeah.
We can go over and over of our founding fathers, including wanting this country to maintain the Christian values. Now, they weren't going to mandate you follow Christ as your savior, but this was not a hey, we're gonna Hindus and Buddhists. This was a Christian nation, and if all you got to do is read the Mayflower Compact, from 1620. I'll read it really quick because I always bring it up when we talk
Nico,
about.
you're saying we were open to other religions coming here.
Well, I don't even think they thought about it. They were trying to break away from the king.
Right.
Here's November 11th, 1620. Make in the name of God, amen, not Allah, whose names are underwritten, the loyal subjects, our dread sovereign, Lord King James, by the grace of God, Great Britain, Great Britain doesn't believe this anymore, France, Ireland King, defender of the faith, etc., having undertaken for the glory of God, listen to this, and the advancement of the Christian faith and honor of our king and country, a voyage to plant the first colony in the northern parts of Virginia. That was this for the glory of God and the advancement of the Christian faith. This was their intent when they were coming over here. Now, you make the argument, there were Native Americans here and all the atrocities that happened.
Right.
There were atrocities both ways, and I'm not a whataboutism guy, and so I'm not trying to say what about them, what about this.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that was the intent. When you read the constitutions of the first 13 colonies, there was a mandate that you had to be a Christian to serve in government, and there was they're still out there. You can read them all. I'm not making this up. I'm not into that bullshit. And then when you understand our founding principles and our founding fathers, it was a heavy Judeo-Christian influence on our civic government, the way it was set up. They had to choose something. And this was going to be the first experiment, the first non-monarch. And so this United States, this experiment of putting this ideas together of the people, by the people, for the people. Well, two things have to happen. You have to have an educated person and you have to have a righteous person. So and where we're going to get this idea of right and wrong? The Bible. Now, we're not going to mandate you serve Christ, but you're going to be influenced by the Christian ideals. So that's a historical fact. This is not that show. George and I have done this many, many times before. I can read, declarations from Congress in 1856 and 1853, and I mean where they profess very overtly that this is a Christian nation, and our founding fathers expected it to stay that way. But all that being said, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, nothing else was contemplated to coexist with that. Now, of course, you can practice whatever religion you want to, absolutely. But that doesn't mean that we're going to change our founding principles because of your religion. And the problem with Islam, the movement is imperialistic in nature. What do I mean by that? Meaning that they're trying to set up one caliphate under one caliph. If you study it, that's just what they're trying to do. And there is a mandate that you have to act a certain way and do a certain thing, and you can't think, and there is no freedom in there. And all you got to do is look at the theocracies of an Islamic nation and see how much freedom is there. And there's not. So they're not. This is why I said this before on the other show, and I'll pass it on to Momo because I know he wants to defend Mamdani. But this is why Ben Carson said years ago, and he got himself into a pickle.
Yeah.
Because he's not a very articulate man, but he's a good man. He said a Muslim cannot be president, and people went bananas. But he's right ideologically. Ideologically, an Islamic person cannot pledge loyalty to anything other than the Sharia. I mean, tell me if I'm
Higher
wrong.
than Sharia. Like
Yes,
Sharia
I mean,
has to be supreme.
Why do you? When I was DA, I mean, and it almost happened in Irving. There was this movement to set up Sharia courts. That's why Abbott signed this bill in Texas where you can't. That's not acceptable, and which is the
praise
country
God for him.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
the whole country should be that way.
Yeah.
But they wanted it, and so what happens in a Sharia court is if there's a problem, discipline,
Yeah.
a legal matter, then thank you,
Y'all stay
Constitution.
out of it.
You keep it to yourself. We're going to our Sharia court to get justice,
Come on.
and then ask the women how they're treated.
Yeah.
For us, we pray for and try to persuade the homosexual.
Mm-hmm.
In an Islamic country, purely Sharia, they're hurt. They're killed. Can be killed. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm
No,
happy
it's
to be
not-
corrected.
Yeah. When I hear about women and homosexuals, is there something within the Hadith, the Quran, and what's the third?
Sirah.
Sirah.
Sira, the
Sirah.
autobiography of.
What's in there that comes with that thought or that sort of we do not
Except
permit this, accept this, and there's consequence to that.
Well, I mean, the Muslim concept of marriage is fundamentally heterosexual, and sexual expressions outside of that are seen as impure and deeply sinful. So in that sense, I mean, it aligns with how Christianity sees
Right.
any other sexual expression other than a monogamous heterosexual relationship. So in that sense, but we don't incarcerate people. We don't coerce people into compliance. And so when we say that even the constitutional order in the United States adopts from Christian principles, because you can see that in our common law. This is why you have freedom of thought and freedom of expression. You can make your own decisions. You can't pick your consequences, but you can pick your actions.
Right.
And so in that sense, there's alignment, and Islam doesn't tolerate that. Like I said, anywhere you look where you have an Islamic republic and you have a totally Sharia compliant society, you won't see any tolerance of that whatsoever. And so what you're seeing in the West is an incremental sort of subjugation of the West to the principles and to the priorities of Sharia, and you can see it. I'll just give you an example. And by the way, this is a concept within Islam. It's actually in, I think, Surah chapter 4 in the Quran, where it says, look, Allah wants to lighten your burden in a society where the kafir is in control. The kafir is any non-Muslim.
non-believer.
And so what Allah basically says is, I realize you can't practice Islam in full-blown mode, so you practice what you can, and what's prohibited is tolerable. What is otherwise prohibited is tolerable. And so you incrementally increase your influence. But wherever you can, and in this nation, it's profound how much we allow Islam to get away with.
Because we've been
and how much
so
we've how much we've accommodated Sharia. Look, I'll give you an example because it's, you guys, you don't even pay attention, but maybe you will now. Anybody who's listening, at virtually every single major airport in the United States, you have Islamic cleansing centers or foot washing centers. They're called ablution rooms. You have one at George Bush International Airport in Houston. You have one in Kansas City, Indianapolis. It's airports I've been to, and these are stations where there's literal foot washing for Muslim employees and Muslim passengers. And so these are significant accommodations that are made. And when they're not, and when they haven't been, CARE steps in, the Council on American Islamic Relations, and insists that there's a violation of civil rights, that there aren't reasonable accommodations being made. That's Sharia. That's a Sharia expectation. So that's a wedge concept. You create a wedge, and you do it in the name of civil rights. It is incalculable, really, the amount of subjugation that you've seen. And I'm using that word. People are like, subjugation? What are you talking about? Because it's been kind of subtle. It's flown low on the radar. But make no mistake about it. It starts like that. And CARE insists that there would be Muslim councils to review American textbooks before they're they're parlayed into school districts. That's a thing. You've got hospitals that are required to make accommodations. You've got clinics that are required to make accommodations. I already mentioned schools and universities.
But for no other religion.
Right. Significant accommodations. And so this is happening with more and more frequency in the United States. And so we mentioned mosques in the video, Nico, because a mosque is not just a place where people go to worship. It's a power center. It's a projection of power. It truly is. And it's not passive. You don't just go in there and say a prayer. The Shahada, which basically says, you and I were talking about, that Islam is really the only true religion, and Allah is the one true God, and Muhammad is his prophet. That's a proclamation of every faithful Muslim. Across British schools everywhere, you've got British students that are literally stating the Shahada.
Wow.
Let me ask you a question and I'll shut up. Can you think of a single university, and if you can't, Google it, because I'm sure you don't have it to the top of your head, but you can Google it. Good luck finding it. I can't think of a single university with a single course, either in the sociology of religion, Nico, or religion or whatever, that employs critical thinking on the history and nature of Islam as a religious system. That allows for critical thinking on it. It's always
let's
portrayed and represented in very positive terms. To do anything other than that,
let's talk about what Sharia stands for.
You get lots of pushback. Go ahead.
Let's just. I'm just going to give you what.
Please do.
So according to Sharia law, theft is punishable by amputation of the right hand.
For
stealing anything. Just steal something, you get your arm chopped off. And I'm not saying it's always applied. I'm just saying that's what Sharia allows. It's allowable. Criticizing or denying any part of the Quran is punishable by death. Criticizing or denying Muhammad as a prophet is punishable by death. Criticizing or denying Allah of Islam is punishable by death. A Muslim who becomes a non-Muslim is punishable by death. A non-Muslim who leads a Muslim away from Islam is punishable by death. A non-Muslim man who marries a Muslim woman is punishable by death. A man can marry an infant girl and consummate the marriage when she's 9 years old, because Muhammad did that. So that's why it's in the hadith. A girl's clitoris should be cut per Muhammad's words in Surah 41, Khatib al-Abdad, Hadith 52:51. So, and the reason why is because a woman is not supposed to enjoy a sexual relationship. She's there just for procreation. A woman can have one husband, but a man can have up to 4 wives. Muhammad had more. A man can unilaterally divorce his wife, but a woman needs her husband's consent to divorce. A man can beat his wife for insubordination. I see that in the justice system all the time. Testimonies of 4 male witnesses are required to prove a rape against a woman. A woman who has been raped cannot testify in her own court against her rapist. A woman who testifies in court allowed only in property cases carries half the weight of a man's testimony. A female heir inherits half of what a male inherits. A woman cannot drive a car. It leads to fitna, upheaval. A woman cannot speak alone to a man who is not her husband or relative. Meat is to be eaten. Okay, who cares about that? Muslims should engage in taqiyya, and they try to defend this, which is to lie to non-Muslims to advance Islam. And then there's even more. So you can lie to a non-Muslim to advance the Islamic cause. And although they try to defend that, because, there's some scripture not scripture, there's some passages in the Quran, it's one of the surahs, where this says, what was it? Allah was a deceiver or something like that, deceived. And
that's...
it's all there.
He is the chief of deceivers. That's Surah chapter 3, verse 54. So that drops out of the character and nature of... And this shouldn't be surprising. I mean, why do we do the things that we do as Christians? Because it falls out of the character and nature of God.
Right, absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
And Jesus was Yahweh.
Right.
And so we do as Jesus said. And so now we have all these epistles and these letters and doctrinal books, which basically take the biography of Jesus and the principles that he'd espoused and then turns it into everyday church conduct, which is what the epistle's about. Yeah. Every religion does that.
Right.
Of course. Right.
So Islam does the same thing.
So where would we draw the line? Where would you draw the line in American? We got our American values, our system, the way we do things. Yes, you can come here and be a Muslim or practice Islam. Where's the line at? You can come here and practice Islam. You can have a mosque, but
what do you mean by practice Islam?
Well, because that's what we allow now.
But if Sharia is part of practicing Islam, do you want them to practice Islam?
No. But
Okay, well
do
then-
we say no Muslims in America or no Islam?
I don't want
Islamic
anything.
ideologies.
I don't believe in the way the Sharia treats people,
Yep.
and I don't
Same.
believe that Islam should be forced on people.
Yes.
Right? And this is not an Islamic country.
Right.
It's not, and either we hold on to it or
Absolutely.
we don't.
Absolutely.
Because other countries don't apologize for being what they are.
Right.
Hindu countries don't apologize for being Hindu. Whatever country, they don't apologize. China doesn't apologize for being what China, Buddhist or whatever they are. They don't apologize for that, and they protect that. Why wouldn't we protect it?
Yeah.
I mean, we've given it away a long time ago, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
But that's where I criticize the church and all the crap I say about that stuff. But I don't. I mean, what is the answer? The answer is I don't think Sharia should be implemented anywhere in the United States.
Right.
There's nothing about Sharia that's good.
Right.
That I've studied. I'm open minded to saying, okay, maybe that's okay. But I'm not. I'm just telling you what I've studied, and I've had to study it because I defended the Constitution against Sharia courts when I was district attorney. But you tell me what's okay about Sharia.
But
No,
and people may not know what that means. See,
Yeah.
I think people are saying when we describe Sharia in other countries, it sounds dramatic.
Right.
Because it's full blown. It's
Right.
part and parcel. It's in the bloodstream.
100%.
What's happening here, and Nico, when he sees it, you get all the videos that we exchange from each other because it's the incremental implementation of Sharia.
Right.
And so it's slow baking it in where people almost expect it. And so I ask questions like, it is a thing that Islamic councils demand to have textbooks reviewed by them. Why?
Yeah.
I say bullshit.
Yeah.
No. Why in the world would we accommodate that?
Why are you checking?
Where's the Christian lobby demanding that?
Yeah.
Okay, obviously. So that's unacceptable. That's Sharia. You've got employers and schools that are met with demand and space to accommodate for employee prayer time. I say bullshit. You do that for Christians?
Yep, that's exactly right.
I mean, and so that's Sharia. I was trying to think. The American banking system is incrementally being Islamicized in financial law. That it's just it's just sort of it's subtle.
And
flies
why?
over. Why?
Yeah. Why?
Why? Because there's cowardice and ignorance. So let me tell you, show me in an Islamic country where they pray out in the middle of the street and block thoroughways.
In a what country?
In an Islamic country.
Where they go into the street and block
Yeah.
traffic?
Where do they do it? They're doing it here.
I'm
It's
laughing because
intentional.
I know where you. I
It's
know where you're
intentional.
going. I know where you're
It's
going. Yeah.
intentional. They're not.
Yeah.
They're doing it here because they're trying to exert power
Yeah.
and strength. It's a
Yeah.
power grab.
So I want.
I've never thought about that.
We want people who are listening to recognize this is already happening, and it's happening. It's not like, oh my goodness, be ready for when
It's
it happens.
coming.
No, it's been happening.
happening.
That's the point. There are universities that are repeatedly demanded to provide sexually segregated swimming pools and athletic facilities for women. That's demanded right now. You've got hospitals that are being sued right now because they're not providing Sharia compliant treatment. That's a thing. I mean, and so all I'm saying is you got to stop it there.
Yeah.
There's got to be an awareness at that level.
Yeah.
There has to be litigation at that level.
Yeah.
While American courts still have, the sort of the autonomic nature that they have.
Yeah.
So this is a dangerous thing. It's slowly eroding the American constitutional order, which is vested really in the spirit and letter of the law of the Bill of Rights, which is vanishing before our very eyes. And I don't think we're hyperbolizing.
Yeah.
One day you recognize, holy crap.
Yeah.
And so anyway,
Well, I think
notice we haven't even talked about terrorism yet.
it's coming. I will say this. I think you're exactly right, Nico. I've never thought about it in those terms of we are not. Why don't we actively say this is a Christian country? We got Christian values. This is who we are, and this is just our identity, and this is going to bleed out in our values, our legislation, and this is just who we are. It seems like there is a fear of that. There's also in the new. I don't know. I don't even want to call it new, but there's this ideology where there is, when I say an attack on Christianity, I'm not talking about persecution, but an attack on Christianity being this sort of religion that has been shoved down our throats. And it's almost like Christianity is being looked at as the boogeyman when it comes to younger generation and people that I don't want to be a part of a country where this is the theme or this is who we are. It's almost like there's a resistance, I should say. There's a resistance to Christianity being the norm because I want to be New Age. I want to do spirituality. I want to do this. And because we have the subway mentality, it's almost a rejection and a resistance to no, don't put that over this country. Does that make sense?
Yes, but I mean, it comes down to ignorance and lack of courage.
Yeah.
I mean, because go to an Islamic country and tell me where they're having a Pride Month
Yeah.
or a Pride Parade
Yeah.
or a protest
Yeah.
against the government. Show me one. There's no freedom in Islam
Yeah.
at all. There's compliance. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, what does Islam stand for?
Oh, it means submission.
Mm.
Man, I'm serious. It's a softball.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it means. Submission.
Right.
So you're going to submit.
It stands for lots of things,
I
but it literally means, I think it's what you're after.
Yes,
The word literally means
yes. That's what I was
Yeah,
exactly
yeah,
what I was
yeah,
going
yeah.
for. But think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, So
Yeah.
this isn't a jujitsu class. I mean, so there's two ways to govern a country. It's through force or through persuasion. Our founding fathers chose persuasion. Even our Lord chooses persuasion. He doesn't want to force himself
No,
on us
he
because he
doesn't.
wants a relation. In Islam, there's no relationship with God. He can change his mind at the last minute. The idea of having Abba, calling God Abba, Daddy,
Yeah.
That's right.
is unheard of. There's
Yeah.
no way. But in Revelations the 3, as we know, 15, that he knocks on the door, and if you open to him, he will come in and dine with you.
That's right.
It's a beautiful Middle Eastern concept, no forks, of intimacy, of us using our hands and eating together. I mean, that's intimate.
Yes.
It is.
And so that's a Middle Eastern concept. And so, but he said, I'm knocking. I'm not a SWAT member. I'm not kicking open the door. I'm knocking. That's not so in Islam.
At very ground level for the common person as they're listening to this, what is the line between take this very seriously and don't walk around scared of this group of people? Like,
What do
this
you mean?
is what we're bringing up is very like, oh my gosh.
Why? 'Cause
Well,
nobody thinks like that about Christianity.
well, it feels like, oh my gosh, because it's like, in the ways that we're describing it, there's no room for any Muslim. Like, that's the way it's like.
No, there's no room for militant Islam.
Yes, and
There's plenty of room for Islamic people
Right.
that will adapt and assimilate. There should be no room for militant. Notice I say militant because someone that's going to apply every aspect of Islam
Agreed,
is not
yeah.
it's not compatible with the Constitution.
No, I'm with you, and I think
I
that's
mean,
the
tell
thing.
me where I'm wrong.
Just being clear on, because I think as I'm listening, it could hear like
I don't care.
every single person, and I know, and that's totally fine. I just want to speak to the people who may be resonating with me.
They're softer.
But
Okay, go ahead.
yes,
Talk to
they're
them.
very soft
Talk
people
to
in
the
the room, but they may be thinking to themselves. They may
It's
be-
been weeks.
they
It's
may be
been weeks,
hearing
Nico.
in a serious way, where I look at someone or I hear that someone is a Muslim, my coworker, my auntie, my this, and now I have to see them as subtly trying to take over my family, subtly trying to, and even if they say they're not, I know that's what your book tells you to do, so I should view you a certain, like, every single person, I'm just saying, and I'm speaking in hyperbole, but I'm trying to pull back where's the middle ground of walking this
middle
thing
ground.
out.
There's not a middle
of-
ground.
Middle
There's no
ground.
middle
Where's
ground.
the
That's a
where
trigger word.
is-
Here it
Trigger.
goes.
I know, triggered over here.
Middle ground.
Where is
There's
the
just
line
ground.
of, I don't have to view every single person that is
Can I give you an
in the
example?
Islamic faith
I give you
that as they're trying to subtly
I got it.
take me over,
heard
take
you.
my family,
heard
my
that.
nation,
I heard that.
Heard you.
my
Heard you the first 3 times. I heard you've let the audience know that you're a
Now-
softer, gentler, more
One more
welcoming.
time.
Just trying to say,
we got
more
that.
time.
Take
One more
this
time.
seriously, but
Where's
also
the dividing line?
Okay.
The middle line. middle
Tell
line.
me, Nico,
Are
where
you a
is
Christian nationalist?
Where is it?
Ooh.
We go over this all the time.
But what-
I'm
what-
not.
no,
I don't.
No,
I,
but what's the
Define
question?
the terms.
That's right.
Define
There
it.
That's all I'm. Thank you, sir.
There it
is.
Thank you, sir. So when someone says I'm a
Now I'm
Muslim, I'm
excited.
Islamic, what does that mean to you?
Right.
That's what I want to know what that, because there's people that I
This
know
is helpful.
that are Islamic or Muslim, but when you talk to them about Sharia, they're like, hell no, what are you talking about? No, that's what if you
What I need
if
you
you
to
go
know,
live
that's
over
what-
there,
yeah,
go
yeah,
live
yeah.
in Saudi Arabia, and let's see how what if you want to kind of water it down. So I always ask them and look at their life. Are they in name only?
Right.
Because I know a dude that I adore,
Yeah.
and George has a dear friend of his that's Islamic. And but what does it mean?
Yeah.
What does it mean to them, and how committed are they to the
Yeah.
cause?
Some
But
are
that's what I- but
cultural
that's what I- yeah.
Islamic.
and I think this is
people.
good for those that are listening, for the tools that, hey, you don't have to see everybody as scary and dangerous.
Well, if I see a
but
woman
take
that I can only see her eyeballs, I got problems with that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hey,
Why?
Tell me why.
How is that normal?
Just tell me why. Tell me
Say why.
Well,
I don't
what if,
know.
what
Why
if,
shouldn't I?
I practice
What?
full-on modesty, and this is the way
That's
my
not modesty,
my
that's
country.
control. There's no way that's modesty.
Let me be naive.
I've
Let me be
never-
naive here.
well, then
Let
you're
me be
very
naive.
naive.
I'm gonna be naive. I want to practice.
Naive, soft. That's
In
what-
my, yeah.
that's
This is it right here.
Naive.
In my country, women do this because we want to be
What?
looked at as modest and
You can't see you.
yes.
You can't
I
even.
get
What
it.
are you talking about?
I
But
get
that's
it.
their- that's
but this
their
is
thing.
this is my thing. You
What's
can't
their
tell
thing?
me what modesty is. It is modesty.
You
can call
tell
it
me
extreme.
one woman that volunteers for that without being controlled.
I don't know.
No, there's none.
I don't know.
There's none. Only a woman that is delusional from being beaten down, and even mentally at the very least.
So you see that and you have an issue. You're
absolutely.
Like, okay.
Of woman. Where are the? I guess these are not feminists, ladies. These are not Christian feminists.
No.
How is that? How is this okay?
Yeah. But here's
How are
my.
you gonna recognize her?
Here's my. here's my thought.
Hey, you met my wife.
Yeah.
Oh, I did.
No, I didn't.
I met a cloth.
My thought is somebody's like, this is how I It's just, I mean, for me, if someone's on a very surface level culture, it's the same way somebody may want to put, when I don't know what culture it may be, but when they put the
Paint?
that paint and the designs on their hand,
Okay.
why would you want to do
That's
that?
art. That's
Why would
art,
you?
yeah.
Okay, you call it art. I'm saying
This is art?
I'm not art, but it's my cultural.
No,
it's my
hold on.
cultural
Hey,
garb.
you know what? You want to do that?
I mean, I'm just-
knock yourself out. What I think.
It's
what
forced.
What I would say,
Yeah.
it's
Which
exactly.
I hear that.
If you tell me do an experiment, go to an Islamic country and say, women, none of you have to do this.
Yeah.
None of you have to do this. See how many say, I want to do it though. Other than being controlled. Just look at Iran. We have Iran as an experiment. Look at Iran before 1975. Mm-hmm. Very different country. You would think it's a Western country.
I seen that.
What about the Amish? They don't do this. No, but they use their face.
Hold on a second.
That's
I'm
completely
just trying to
different.
figure out where.
You're making. You see, you're making. This is the problem. I think these are.
Soft
These are two separate
problem.
issues. If a person
the
wants
common person
Yeah.
thinks, Nico.
If a
ahead,
person
George.
wants to do that,
Yeah.
they can knock themselves out.
Yeah.
What we're saying is, and again, this is why we don't want to talk about individual persons.
Okay.
No,
that
we're not-
makes sense.
Yeah. See, Mo keeps going there.
Yeah. Individual
wants to-
scenarios.
Mo-
trying to make
you
sure
do
that
because you
listen,
asked about
individual
people and
scenarios.
persons, and we're talking about ideologies.
I see.
We are not okay with this ideology
clarity.
spreading in the name of religion because it isn't
good.
religion. It's a political system, and it is a political system that subjugates women.
How is that
the-
okay?
Why does it subjugate women? Well, I mean, how in the world does not seeing literally a 0.75 sliver of their identity, the erasure of their identity?
Right.
They've literally disappeared behind a veil.
Yeah.
They're gone. Talk
Yeah.
about the erasure of freedom of expression. That's not okay. Now, if a person or two want to do that, knock yourself out.
Yeah.
That's persons,
Knock
not
yourself. There's about 3.5 Muslims, at least by the latest. I think it's more than that. About 3.5 Muslims in the United States.
3.5 Muslims.
Yeah, I
What do
think
you mean
that's
3.5 Muslims?
low.
What do you mean?
Population of around 3.5 Muslims in the United States.
3.5 Muslims? That's it?
3.5 million Muslims.
Okay,
forgive
say
me.
that was.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah. I thought you said
You
percentage.
left,
Three and a half
you left a
million.
million out.
Sorry
That's
about
a
that.
big deal.
Million. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's about 1%.
Well, you would think there was 3 billion Muslims in
Exactly.
this country because they're the
Exactly right.
loudest, and we're not.
Exactly right.
And they're praying in streets, and that's just not. That's not happening in Islamic countries. That's all for exacting
Got a
control.
question?
What's wrong? Good
Oh,
question.
here we go.
Frankie, why are they allowed to have mosques in the United States? If a Christian was going to go build a church anywhere, he's 100% right. He's 100% right.
They would be.
He's 100% right.
Ah.
He's right.
Why are they allowed? You're saying that they shouldn't be allowed to have mosque? Is that what? Why are they allowed to have mosque?
But the argument isn't that they shouldn't be able to build one here because we can't build one over there.
Yeah.
It's a different country. The argument is what is a mosque? What does a mosque do? And this is well known. It's well documented. What does a mosque do? These aren't just places where you go and you worship and you sort of worship Allah and you sing songs and you venerate Allah. These are political centers. These are political action centers. These things further Sharia. That's the point. They're political action centers. And every imam is engaged in that. Now, to greater or lesser extent, I get that.
Right.
But the reality is that these are power centers. We're not okay with that. We're definitely not
Next
okay with
question.
that.
Next one.
Wait. Just
sorry,
before you do
sorry.
it, should we, and again, naive question, should we not allow mosques in the United States?
Depends.
Depends.
What are they doing?
What are you doing in there?
What are you doing in there?
What are you doing in there?
Yes.
And you're saying that we as a country should be able to
ask.
Yes.
What are you doing?
have that reach to say what are
Absolutely.
you doing?
And then if
I'm
you
with
start
you.
if you start
Clarity on
preaching
tonight.
Sharia,
Clarity, baby.
you will be shut down. I mean, like if you put that
We got
leash on it.
evidence.
So
No,
go ahead.
I'm not even against you want to preach Sharia. I'm against the forcible implementation of Sharia. If you want to preach, I believe in freedom of speech. I'm talking about look. Islam spreads through intimidation and force. Why do you think people don't want to criticize it? They have no problem criticizing Christians. They have no problem criticizing Jesus. But everyone's like, oh, should I say this about Islam? And it shouldn't be that way. Brigitte, what's her last name?
Gabriel.
Gabrielle, she's amazing. If you don't know who she is, check her out. This chick's got big old kuyans. I mean, she is amazing. Educated. She understands. She came from that country. She's amazing. And she preaches to Bill Warner. I mean, David Wood. A lot of people, Nabil Qureshi before he passed on, a lot of people educate people on Islam and what it means. And then all you have to do, Abdul Murray, all you have to do is go to these countries and look at their societies and look at the freedoms if they have it. There's no freedom. There's not, and there's just there's no joy. There's just not. I mean, you know, and so that's all. That's my 2
good.
cents.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
I
good.
care about ideas have
I'd
consequences.
like to recommend a book that I think is really Mo. I think you should get it. Honestly, I'll get it for you. I'll have it shipped to you. And it's a former a former Muslim who converted to Christianity, and it's called Behind the Veil: Unmasking Islam. And I think it's Ibn al-Shafi, Schafi, and man, he goes on and talks about very clearly how this is it's basically a political system dressed up as a religion.
This is going to trigger
spread
you,
by
George.
force.
So don't look at this comment.
Oh.
George is going to be triggered. I did. Hillary, look, thank you for commenting, by the way. But yeah, Hillary. I said
Okay,
Hillary. I said
Zionism
Hillary.
post
Yeah, yeah.
and even.
No. Thank you for commenting. But they're separate issues to me.
Wait.
I
We didn't listen to it yet.
I did. I read it. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh,
Go read
okay.
it.
Sorry.
Read
Yeah.
it,
Sorry.
guys.
Post.
Keep
Modern Judaism / Zionism pose an even larger threat to our nation because they are operating behind the curtains. We are giving Israel access. This is Saulo. All of our data and private content, military government intelligence, that gives them limitless control. They started down nearly every porn site, according to my digging. The Pharisees, who essentially led the way to modern Judaism, demanded Jesus be put to death. And in Islam, they actually have respect for Jesus as a prophet. They often will send their kids to Christian schools and sometimes even attend to Christian churches. I know Muslims who do this. They are far less radical Muslims than the media portrays. Also, what does the Talmud say about Jesus, non-Jews, ? I'm making excuses for Islam. I'm not making excuses for Islam. I just feel like Islam and Judaism should be scrutinized for what they are and what they say about Christ followers.
I am no apologist for Judaism or for Israel. I'm not. I could give two shits, to be honest with you. You criticize them all you want. And if they deserve it, God criticized them. Just read the book of Judges. I mean, he ignored them for 400 years. God's a daddy. He disciplines people, and they needed a hell of a bunch of discipline. And so we can go into the whole replacement theology and all that stuff. We can do all that if you want to do that. But with all due respect, Hillary, and I mean this, to compare Judaism and whatever Zionism means, there's another, oh, you're a Zionist. What the hell does that mean? What do you mean by that? So to compare it to Islam, and there is no radical Islam. There's just Islam. There's either someone that's militant about applying the 3 books and the principles of Islam and Sharia, or there's someone that just, they don't want to believe in it, or they're just passive. But there is no radical. Islam, in its text, in its true understanding, is radical. It is. It's not radical Islam. Show me what Islam is first, and then we'll talk about whether there's radical Islam.
Right.
There's just Islam.
Yeah.
And that's, like I said, Bill says that, and I agree with him on that. But to compare that to Judaism and behind the scenes stuff, I'm open to all of that. I'm open to, I mean, because if the Jews are trying to take over the world, they're doing a shitty job because they're like the size of New Jersey, and there's how many Jews in this country? So I'm open to it all. I'm not against that. I'm open to it. I'm a truth seeker. I'm a Jesus follower. He comes first. I don't ignore the land. I separate the land of Israel versus the people, the Jewish people. I keep that. And we have to contend with the fact that God has a plan for the land and the people, by the way. And the people.
Absolutely.
Whether we like it or not.
Yes.
Now, that doesn't mean that until God comes back and implements his plan, that we don't criticize. Jews are not going to heaven without Jesus.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
They're chosen because the gospel message came in through them.
Yep.
And we have a Jewish Messiah.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Saulo, we do. Sorry. But if they don't accept Christ and bow their knee to Jesus, then they, because of their own choice, will be separated from Christ. That's tough, and so we should want to save them too.
Yeah.
So the Christians that are like, hey, the Jewish people, we love Jews and we love Israel. Great, love them all you want. Try to save them though,
Right.
Because if you pat them on the back without talking about Jesus, you're gonna pat them all the way to hell.
Right.
Save them.
Right.
Save them.
So Islam poses a bigger threat to you.
Okay, this is
Not even a comparison.
Hillary. Thank you for.
Okay, I'm just.
You're saying it's not even a comparison.
I don't think it is. I mean, where am I
I'm
wrong?
with you. I'm arguing with you.
Where am I wrong?
Thanks to Hillary for the contribution. I appreciate the long post. It is pretty close to irrelevant to what we're talking about, almost irrelevant to what we're talking about. I really don't give two shits that there are Jews who do things that are stinky and that I don't like. Okay, it's irrelevant. There's lots of people. We can talk about
Christians that do that.
Zoroastrianism. We can talk about all kinds of stuff. Different persuasions and worldviews that we disagree with. We're not even in the same plane here, not even in the same galaxy. Jews are not imposing Judaism on the United States, okay? Jews are not incrementally demanding accommodations in the United States. They just simply don't want countries, and can you blame them, to implement ideologies that lead to their annihilation because they know something about that. The Jewish population was wiped out by 50% about 80 years ago. So forgive them for being a little prickly about that, all right? So there's just no equivalency here. We are concerned about the imposition of Islamic law on the United States because we're seeing its incremental subjugation on people and systems and processes in the United States. We're seeing it, and we're seeing a slow incremental erasure of the constitutional order. In other words, the priorities of the Constitution are being turned on their head. We are concerned about ultimately, this is what happens. You can study this in virtually every Islamic society. It begins peacefully until there's enough power that can be projected to the point where it's not peaceful anymore.
Right.
And then you have Islamic leaders that are in conflict with the leaders of those nations. And then all of a sudden you have more than just conflict. It's not rhetorical. It's actually violent. And then there's the very real sort of elephant in the middle of the room called terrorism. I mean, you have just an untold number of acts of terrorism by Muslims across the world and right here in the United States. Please, can you find any kind of an analog like that with Israel or Jews? I mean, does not that tell you that we're just in different galaxies here? So with sincere respect, who cares? Really, who cares? I mean, I could do this all day long. The shoe bomber was a Muslim. The Beltway snipers were Muslims.
Shoe bomber, which was sorry, for clarity, what was the shoe bomber? I'm trying to follow you.
Brother, there's more than one. But
okay.
Go back to September 11, 2001.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But you remember the Fort Hood bomber, right?
Yes,
the Fort Hood shooter.
Absolutely. Okay.
Look up the Beltway snipers. That was in the news.
Gotcha. Okay, so these are multiple
5 to 8 years ago.
acts. Sorry, I'm
They
following
are.
you.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
following you now. Nope. I thought it was like a one-off thing.
No, it's okay. Like I said, we could do this so long. The underwear bomber. You got to look up the underwear bomber. He was a Muslim. You think I'm joking?
No, I'm gonna look it up.
The USS Cole bombers were Muslims. The Madrid train bombers were Muslims. The Bali nightclub bombers were Muslims. How about the London subway bombers? They weren't Irish Catholic. They were Muslims. The Moscow, Nico, when was that? It was, golly, man. It was the Moscow theater. Moscow theater attackers.
People.
They were Muslim.
All right, I found them.
Brother, we could do this all day long. The Boston Marathon bombers were Muslims. The Pan Am Flight 93 bombers were Muslims. I'm not seeing any Jews here. I'm not. Still waiting. The Air France Entebbe hijackers were Muslims. The Iranian embassy takeover Muslims. The Beirut U.S. embassy bombers were Muslims. It seems to me the Libyan U.S. embassy bombers were Muslims. I mean, the Buenos Aires suicide bombers were Muslims. The Syrian embassy bombers were Muslims. Yes, U.S. embassy.
Yeah.
The Kenyan U.S. embassy. The Saudi what the hell was it? The Saudi Khobar Towers bombers were Muslims. I mean, and on and on and on and on. And one that every time I see it, I think it's jarring to me. The wipeout of the Israeli Olympic team in 1972 Munich. That's right, Muslims massacring Jews in a Western nation in Germany. That's how far they had to go to wipe out. Where do you see that coming from Israel? Look, I don't like everything Israel does. I've got serious problems, but the idea that you would go that far away from what is an obvious existential problem to something that's frankly a yawn. I'm bored by the whole thing. To establish any kind of equivalency that you're using Zionism, listen, that's code for there is an Israeli boogeyman under every rock. I think it's delusional, with all due respect. We could do this all day long, all day long. Oh, the Beslan, what was it? The Beslan Russian school attackers. How about the first, speaking of Mamdani, the first World Trade Center attackers, 1993. He was posing with Siraj Wahhaj, who was an unindicted co-conspirator of the 1993 World Trade Center bombings. We could do this all damn day long. This ideology is destructive if it's implemented to fruition via Sharia. That's what we're concerned about. And we're seeing it across the United States. And there are some states, I really, you've already mentioned Dearborn. And here in Texas, this is a significant problem here.
Yeah.
We've had an explosion. And God bless Chip Roy.
Yeah.
God bless Chip for what he's doing. He's bringing attention to this issue. And I mean, he mentioned there were tens of millions, $13 million that have been allocated in the last couple of years to 18 Islamic organizations, taxpayer dollars in Texas. Why? No wonder you're seeing an explosion of mosques.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a good idea to project this kind of ideology en masse
Right.
on American society?
Right.
If you're concerned about politics and where we are politically in the United States, right, and Texas's role in maintaining, it seems to me, kind of a conservative mindset in American politics. How long do you think Texas is going to remain red with this kind of demographic shift? Because it's significant.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is we have to go back to the ideology.
Huge.
I know there's individual Muslims that are dear people. I know some, they're dear friends.
Yeah.
There are, and I mentioned this to you guys last week, there are Muslims that I would trust with more my life than Christians, more so than Christians. That's not the point.
That's not the point.
And every one of those Muslims that I'm
Maurice.
talking about in this way, every one of those Muslims in my,
For the listeners,
I would say to them that they are out of compliance with true Islam in many ways.
Right.
That's a whole other discussion.
Wait
No,
until New Yorkers have to
come
quit
on,
drinking,
George.
eating pork, and traffic.
That's
Has
good,
to stop
brother.
on me. Yeah, well.
Pray 5 times a day.
That's what I was thinking. I
Alamo
don't think
Talk,
it
can you
can't get that
imagine the
far.
damage Radical Islam and MAGA could do if they joined forces? Damage in what way? What
Can
would
you
they do,
imagine the
Alamo?
Damage radical.
I love when you
Islam
end
could
when
do
you
if they
watch
joined
us.
forces.
Alamo Talk.
Right.
Yeah, you can't compare MAGA to Islam. not
No.
intellectually.
Now,
I think he's just
now
trying
you're not
to,
even trying, brother.
he's just trying to be Salo.
Alamo
Yeah.
Is
Talk.
his last name Rodriguez? Alamo Talk Rodriguez? He's not Saulo? I think that's Saulo.
That's Saulo, man.
Alamo Talk is Saulo. You're behind the scenes. You're like the Jewish
Behind the scenes.
behind the scenes. Look, I mean, but these are the conversations we have to have.
Yeah. No, that's
I
true.
mean, and everybody, and anyone that defends Islam, I mean, go to Saudi and see how it feels. Send your daughter there. Send your wife there. I mean, you can. And this is not. See, this is. I mean, I really, even though I disagree with him a lot, I like Alamo Talk. I can just tell you someone that we're supposed to go to lunch. By the way, guy, you have not. Has he messaged me his cell number yet? Now that he's listening, message me your cell number privately,
Yeah,
and I'll
yeah.
text you tonight so you can have my cell number so we can go to lunch. You promised me lunch. But what my point is, it shouldn't be. This is not a Republican Democrat thing.
no.
It's just not.
Yeah.
Now,
I
mean,
agree.
You know, because a lot of Islamic people voted for Trump.
Yeah.
Because why? Because Biden supported Israel, so the motive
I
was
see.
different.
I see.
And then now that Trump supports Israel, I'm sure they wouldn't vote for him. Not that he's going to run again, but you know what I mean. The Republican. So I mean, to me, it's not about that. This is about I want a even playing field, so the Republicans and Democrats go back to arguing about their shit. I want a free society. I don't want censorship. I don't want control.
Anybody that I see arguing around Islam stuff, it's never from the book. And I think that's what you guys are getting at. You guys are getting at what you hold as your sacred text. It's always, again, and that's why I'm bringing up the common person, the anecdotal. What about my grandma? What about my this person? What about, you guys are pointing to, and I think this is the ignorance piece.
Right.
This is what their book says.
Yeah.
And so the people that you see, and it's like, I only, love everybody and I'm whatever. We're talking about what they hold sacred to.
What should the church do on the topic of Islam? Educate.
That's great.
Well, I think
I mean, and talk boldly and not be afraid. And talk about it.
Yeah.
Just say, look, educate people because ignorance is not bliss. Hosea 4:6 says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And so if you don't know what you're defending, educate people about that. you know, and then we go with music. I can't go. And then we need to educate people about that, and that's what they should be doing. They should be educating people about that.
And Nico, they should start by saying that they're not the same religion. It's not the same God,
Absolutely.
because there's a lot of Christians who
Absolutely.
believe that's the
That's-
same God, and there's really very little difference. In reality, there are significant differences.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you don't know anything about the Old Testament or the New Testament, and all you know are some sound bites that actually happen to be accurate, like God loves sinners, Jesus loves sinners. That's a fundamental difference, because Allah doesn't actually particularly care for sinners.
Right.
Right? I mean, he expects you to clean yourself up, technically.
Right.
Really, I mean, every soul shall be paid in full for what it has earned.
Yeah.
That's straight out of the Quran.
Wow.
That's Quran chapter 2, verse 282. So, you know, you have to perform your way. There are ritualistic expectations that you need to do. And yes, I mean, you don't come as you are and gain grace from Allah. So I think churches should talk about the theological differences, and then that has political ramifications, just like we do in Christian apologetics. What does the Bible say? And if you believe what the Bible says, that means you think and you conduct yourself in a certain way at home, in your relationships, in society at large, your place of employment. Okay, well, take the same model, and what does that look like for Islam? Let's look at what the theology is, and not what and then ultimately what that looks like politically.
Yeah.
You can see two clear different paths. A lot of Christians just don't know. I mean,
And it's a discipleship issue. And we talked about that a little bit a couple weeks ago, that this has to be discipled in your people as a pastor. You have to disciple that in your people, let them know there's a clear delineation, who we are not. And that's just Bible. This is, I mean, down to all of it. Jehovah's Witness, Mormons, Islam, who we are not. And that has to be discipled through your people. You have to build your people up to know exactly who you are as a Christian. What does that mean as a Christian? It's such a, everybody has sort of hitched their wagon, not everybody, but a lot of things and people have hitched wagons to Christian. What does this actually mean, to define the term? What does it actually mean that we are Christians? What is our biblical worldview? And what's that delineation? And you have to disciple that in your people. And it has to what you all are saying, and I know that we're late, this has to be something that's not in peripheral, coming front and center as in one of the top 5 things that are spoken about in a yearly diet when it comes to somebody's pulpit. So,
Top 5.
it has to be.
It's up there.
Has to be.
So how do you feel now? About
Take a deep breath.
we'll let you end. We'll let you end
Let me end with what?
end the show.
End the show.
What do you have
Come
to
on,
say?
final thought.
I don't know what my final
Where do you
thought
stand
is.
with Islam? Are you Islamic?
No,
Where do you stand?
I already said it. It's what the book is.
go
It's the
say hello.
ideology. It's not.
You support
it's
Islam?
The people. No, I'm talking about the people, because, and I think this is why people, sort of the mask of it is like, well, my family, and I think I've mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. You weren't here, but the subset within Islam that is Nation of Islam within the Black community, and tons of Black Muslims that are many degrees away from whatever this is. And again, it's like, okay, I see what this is. Of you're not necessarily fully implementing and holding to your text and your book, your scripture, and it's a whole nother version of it. But it's, again, my thought is how people interact. How are you now interacting with people? Because what I don't want people to do is interact on an individual basis. And that's why I think it's important to talk about of the people that we know, the friendships, the family, of treating them as something based off of our conversation. And I know that's not what we're saying, but I think that's why I threw in what about, this person.
Well, I always enjoy having Imam Momo on the show.
You got to define. Ask them what they mean by being a Muslim.
You got that? That's your biggest
Nico.
takeaway?
The
You
Imam.
like that?
Nico's takeaway.
You like that?
Ask
The emo.
The emo.
Ask them.
Don't mess with my emo. Tomorrow. That's only for the females, not for you. Don't be a trans Islamic person.
I see it.
man.
Thank you guys. Look, we're lighthearted about it now, but these are serious topics, and we should be able to discuss them. We should be able to discuss them with people of the Islamic religion too, and talk about it. And what does it mean when it happens? And look, just look at the examples out there. Study Europe. Study Dearborn, Michigan. Let me know what you think about in a few years.
Yeah.
But we can't keep giving ground. We just can't.
Can't
We
keep
have to
giving ground. I
And so I'm
agree.
glad you agree, Marquise.
I really do.
The church needs to educate.
I really do.
Pastor Ed's doing a great job.
Yeah.
I wish more pastors would follow his lead. It's
It has to come off the
uncomfortable.
peripheral.
Yeah.
too.
And you got to get deep in the weeds. And
Yeah.
you just got to talk and don't have to
Yeah.
be mean about it. Education is not mean. It's just
Yeah.
education. All right, guys. Imam Omomo, thank you, sir. God bless you guys. Have a good week.